Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to this channel. My name is Laura from PleiadianHealer.com, and today we're going to talk about the Lionsgate Portal, which to this date seems to be one of the most triggering topics that I've ever talked about. And we will discuss exactly why this portal is so deceptive, how it calls in a whole bunch of dark entities as part of the dark New Age agenda, and more things. So this year I'm going to have a few videos on the Lionsgate Portal. If you're new to this entire debunking the Lionsgate Portal, this is the video you need to have. And I'll link all the other videos in this video as well, and you'll have it in the playlist, the Lionsgate Portal. But basically, I'm going to share a screen too, and we're going to go through a few concepts of the Lionsgate Portal. So we're going to actually discuss what the astrology is behind the Lionsgate Portal, and where the name comes from, and a few more things. The Lionsgate Portal is the day when the most entities are being called in by the New Age and other programs and cults, by the way. I personally see the astral as infested with these type of entities and also other codes, encodings, programs, etc. And this is the time when it feels the most unstable in the astral, and it's probably best to stay far, far away from it. So let's just go into this and we'll go through it one by one. This is basically the thumbnail I had last year, but as you can tell, the Lionsgate Portal is promoted by a lot of mainstream articles, and whenever that happens, I always want to say, definitely question it or run the other direction. So this is an article by Glamour, and this is what I wrote in regards to it. So we're going to go through this article just so you guys see what people are writing, what these journalists or people writing the articles are really writing about. The article is about what is the Lionsgate Portal, and they're writing it on August 8th. So why is it considered so lucky? How can you reap the awards? Always have to laugh when they write that. Basically, the Lionsgate Portal is like a cosmic holiday that occurs every year when a certain alignment happens in the sky. I already have to say that alignment does not happen on August 8th. And the article goes on saying the portal is open from July 26th through August 12th, but its powers are most potent today, making it the prime time to manifest exactly what you want. Today meaning August 8th. So this is what I have to say in regards to that. 8/8 is not the date. And this is coming from astrologers. There are a handful out there who are actually questioning this portal, who have actually questioned this so-called event for a very long time. And one of them was basically talking about how 8/8 is not the date. And she does mention a different date. So according to her, which you can see the astrologers that I mentioned in last year's video, I'll link it in this video. According to this astrologer, the alignment of Sirius, Sun, and the Earth is more than a month before all of this, meaning closer to our Independence Day here in the US. So more around July, beginning of July. Certainly not July 26th, though. And so there are all of these theories about if this possible alignment is even happening, but so far coming from astrologers who are questioning this and who are actually drawing out all the correlations to it, no, it does not happen on August 8th. That's a complete myth. It also doesn't happen on July 26th through August 12th. And so you do have to ask yourself, why is this being pushed over and over again by the New Age, especially the New Age? It's also being pushed by others, but the New Age is a huge one, over and over again, and what's in it for them, right? So if you can literally, if you are an astrologer or you have the tools to look this up, you can literally go and check this for yourself. And the astrologer went on saying how it was very mysterious how not even like these huge celebrity astrologers, all astrologers who have the tools, how they're not even checking that 8/8 is not the actual date. They're just kind of taking it as it appears to us, as all these articles are stating to us, and it's complete bogus. It doesn't really happen. Another thing that's very important, aside from the astrology not adding up, which I do want to add, you know, I personally, I'm not into astrology, but if you look at your own solar return, which is your actual birthday, and I have a video on that too, it's different from every year, right? Like each year, you're not going to have the same solar return time. You're not going to have the same solar return date. It's always going to be maybe around the same date, but that is literally just one thing really aligning. Whereas with the Lionsgate portal, supposedly you're supposed to have these three things aligning, and it's completely impossible if you just apply a little bit of logic according to it. And also, if you look at how Mercury retrogrades, you know, you have typically 2 or 3 every year, how they fall onto different dates every year, it makes sense. Why would the Lionsgate portal be on 8/8 every year? Sure, Sirius is a fixed star in that sense, but it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So before 2012, this entire Lionsgate portal was completely unheard of. And I've done a lot of research on this because I've been talking about it since 2020 on. So this has already been a thing for the past few years, where I just have done so much research. I've really dug through all the documents that I could find online, and there's nothing. You can find absolutely nothing on the Lionsgate portal before 2012. What happened around 2012, more so December 2011, the old world supposedly came to an end according to the Mayan calendar, which the Mayan calendar is also a thing in and of itself that should probably be debunked in a different video. But it came to an end, and then we entered this new timeline according to the New Age trap mentality. So yeah, it all makes sense that they're adding all these things. And then from 2012 on, you have the Lionsgate portal, which before that was not even a thing. You might see some documents from the 90s that mention something like a lion's path, but it has nothing to do with the Lionsgate portal. And so you do have to ask yourself, why is there nothing before this? When this is supposedly thousands and thousands of years old, why is there not a single blog post, article, video on it from 2012 or before 2012, right? And so I can talk from my own experience, because we've all kind of been under the psyop, under this deception at one point. At least if you're watching this video, I did not hear about the Lionsgate portal possibly until 2016. I want to say 2016-ish, maybe the year before, definitely 2017, and then 2018 and on, it was really, really put into the spotlight. But yeah, basically, it's just gotten bigger and bigger every year. And every time you try to speak out against it, because I've been speaking out against it since 2020 on, you just receive so much backlash, right? It's almost like it puts people under a form of hypnosis. They don't want to question the astrology of it because, oh yeah, if the mainstream says it's true, if this astrologer says it's true, it must be true. But no, absolutely not. And so another thing to point out, if you're already going according to sacred numerology, which is 8/8, we had a calendar change from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar in 1582. If this supposed Lionsgate portal, which you have the word gate and portal in one, by the way, portal is basically opening up a portal to let all these entities through. And what are you gatekeeping? It's another question to ask. But basically, if this has been a thing for the past thousands of years, as the articles make it out to be, how is that possible? Because what used to be our August now, which is the 8th month of the year, is technically October. That's also why you have October. Oct comes from 8, and then November comes from 9, December is from 10. So nothing really makes sense. The entire numerology started to get really messed up with this calendar change. And so the 8/8 date makes absolutely no sense according to the old Julian calendar. So that's just a little bit of background in regards to the dates not adding up. And I do want to say the New Age really likes to emphasize the 8/8, 7/7, 11/11, 2/2, 6/6, whatever types of portals, right? They make them sound so magical. It's almost hypnotic, really hypnotizing their followers. How could you not like this date? Of course, you have to love the 8/8 date. But 8 also equals an infinity sign, which is literally looping you over and over into the same thing and through the same thing over and over again. So once you're kind of outside of it, and once you're kind of in your own energy, you actually don't really feel the effects of all of this. You don't feel drained. You don't feel whatever it is they want to drag you into. And so when they always want to have you do these mass meditations, for example, the mass meditations for world peace, That was really common at one point, definitely in 2020 when everyone had nothing better to do. It's always about setting energy in motion for them. By them, it's whoever's behind this. Call them Freemasons, call them controllers, call them Illuminati, elite. It's actually proven by legit psychological experiments done in the 1960s and beyond that all these meditations can set a form of energy in motion if enough people do them. And so you're feeding your own energy into their Masonic agenda. And it's also draining your own energy by doing that. It's draining you of your own energy, your psychic power, and sovereignty. So what I got psychic insight wise, before we go to the name meaning of the Lionsgate, you're opening up portals with your energy, which you might not be aware of that. And even if you want to open up portals, you're doing that not on your own accord. You're doing that according to the agenda of what they want you to do, because you're doing it exactly on the date they want you to do this. That's why they need as many people to meditate on it and participate in their rituals as possible, because it is a ritual at this point. It's hijacking your psychic insight and third eye, and it builds up a lot of psychic blockages and walls around you as well. So it's really siphoning off your energy. That's exactly why people are feeling completely whack and out of it when they participate in this. So every year when I do a video like this, which I've been doing for the past 3 or 4 seasons already, I always get comments of people like, oh, I felt like I was hit by a car or hit by a truck, or I feel really drained. It's not a good thing. That's a sign that your energy has been hijacked, basically, when that happens. So these are all forms of rituals that they're using. Now, to the actual name, and that's just the energetic and astrological background on this, but to the actual name, so the name comes from Lionsgate, and this actually comes from something that has to do back to Jesus times even. It's the start of the traditional Christian observance of the last walk of Jesus from prison to his own crucifixion, which is basically his own murder, his execution, through the Via Dolorosa, which translates to the street of suffering, the street of pain, the street of the highest sacrifice even. And it begins at the so-called Lionsgate. So I had a video before this where I was actually in Jerusalem, and I show how I was all around this Lionsgate, how the energy even felt very weird around this Lionsgate, and what it really looks like. So I'll link this video in this one too. The Lionsgate is also called St. Stephen's Gate by Christians. It's so carved in the wall above the gate are 4 lions, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. I personally saw 2 of those for sure. And it goes back to a Suleiman, the Magnificent, who had the carvings made to celebrate the Ottoman defeat of the Mamluks in the year 1517. The legend has it that Suleiman's predecessor, Selim I, dreamed of lions that were going to eat him because of his plans to level the city. So if you look at the symbology of all of this, which I'm not saying the Lionsgate was there when Jesus walked through it, there probably was a form of gate there, but whether or not it was called the Lionsgate is very questionable. But if you look at the symbology of all of this, they're using the lion symbology, which, by the way, you're going to be able to find everywhere. Once you start paying attention to it, you're going to be able to find it everywhere. On weaponry, on Jewish churches, on churches in general, synagogues, and all of that, like everywhere. Like I was in Germany last year in the summer. It was everywhere. And every single garden that's still related to the medieval ages, you will find lions everywhere. And I'll go into that in a different video. But basically, lions were hijacked by the Freemasons, by the original Masonry. And they're using that to kind of eat up the small man, the small people. And so the symbology that you have in this paragraph in and of itself, right? He dreamed of lions that were going to eat him. What do you think you're actually meditating on? What do you think you're actually praying on? Just as a rhetoric question. I mean, it's very clear that this is all about them eating the essence of you, eating something in your energy field, and using it for their own agenda, at least for people who kind of see through all those deceptions. So that is the Lionsgate. And someone had mentioned in a previous video that they know of every single major city that has a Lionsgate. It's correct. They're using the symbology of this original Lionsgate that they used for Yeshua's prison walk, from the prison to the crucifixion. They're using that same symbology in every single city, similar how you will find other major concepts in every single city reoccurring over and over again in a lot of major European cities and also elsewhere in the world, but definitely for sure in the Middle East and Europe. So this is not coming from a religious standpoint, as you know, at this point, but I do want to point that out for people who are new. It's coming more from the actual symbology. Jesus is a hijacked name. Jesus was actually Yeshua. Did Yeshua exist? Yes, for sure. You can definitely feel his energy in Jerusalem. And Yeshua was someone who they used over and over again for symbology as a sacrifice. And now it's coming up in this Lionsgate Portal energy. Another name I want to point out is the Lionsgate, which is movies. And they are also the creators of the Hunger Games. Anything else you need to know? Hunger Games? It's basically the fittest survives, right? So they have a whole bunch of other movies too. But I mean, this is Freemasonry right in your face. You know, this is all the symbology you need to know. I mean, these are movies that are promoted by the elite, the dark agenda behind Hollywood, all of that. And they call themselves Lionsgate in addition to Jeshua's walk, Jesus walk, and all the other things. So it's definitely something you should consider when, you know, you want to meditate or feed your energy into the Lionsgate portal. The lion is a symbol of Freemason power. You know, they had like lion hunts when they do hunting for lions. That came from somewhere, and that wasn't the regular person that did that, but that was like, oh, who's going to have the biggest lion? How can we shoot down or hunt down this biggest lion? So that came from a few hundred years ago, but it came from somewhere, and that's usually Freemasons who did that. So yeah, there's a lot of hunting symbology in this entire concept. It's definitely not as innocent as the New Age wants you to believe. And the reason it's getting bigger and bigger every year is most likely because they want more and more of your energy right now. You know, there's a lot of concepts out there which I dig through in my videos. For example, the Tree of Life, how all of those have been hijacked, and the Eye of Ra, the Hamsa hand, all of those. So definitely check those videos out if you're new here. But that's what I had to say on the Lionsgate portal. You are immensely attacked when you start speaking out against it. And so I do think it triggers the hypnotic state that some people are in, but it's just something that bears pointing out. And I hope you have a wonderful one. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what your thoughts are. And until then, bye guys.